How are you both doing?
Hey, Steve.
Good. How are you?
Doing excellent. I thought you guys did such a great job with this film. I'm really happy to talk to you about it.
Thanks.
Awesome.
So I love the Rashomon way of telling this story. And I'm just curious, I'm not sure where it was introduced in the script. How did you crack that code that you wanted to tell it in that Rashomon way?
Early on, before we even decided to write it, before I even showed it to Ben, very, very early on, it just felt like the exact right way to tell this story. And which was great because, in terms of us begging Nicole to come write with us, like, please come do this. We had that. And the idea was, and Ben actually lied.
They did not beg me. They did not beg
Ben
me.
Totally
they
lied
had
to
me
you.
at, hi, are you?
Ben was like, this is going to be a 6-week job.
Yeah, a month. No, we said it's a month.
A month, because we said it's one act. It's like 30 pages, 35 pages. Like, you just crank this out. And like, you don't even have to stop doing what you're doing with your own movie. Like, just come over to and help us. And 2 years later, we're still here talking about it.
And it's been great. But yeah, I think you guys thought it would be more interesting than telling a linear story.
Yeah. And also this idea of, especially in this day and age when people are constantly talking about their own truths and my truth and this perspective and that perspective, like, let's tell the story from these 3 different perspectives, particularly because her character wasn't in that culture, right, viewed as a human being. She was viewed as property. Legally, she was property. She was the property of her father, and then she became the property of her husband, who was a man who was basically her father's age, the guy that I play. And this woman just kind of jumped off the page in this book that we read, that we adapted this from, for just being so brave to kind of, in that culture, to like speak truth to power the way she did, at the risk of so much, eventually at the risk of her own life. She was just awesome. And so that's why we wanted to make a movie about her.
Yeah, I'm very happy you did. Also, I think people need to realize that, in this day and age, it's tough for anyone to say the word rape and the repercussions. Back then, that could be a death sentence. It's
yeah. And in fact, Eric, in the book that we base this on, Eric Yeager, who wrote the book, he talks about that. Like the first risk that she took was telling her husband, because oftentimes the husband would just kill them immediately, right? And so it was like she had no legal recourse without, which she says in the movie, which was true. Her husband had to take up the case and had to take up this cause, or she had no voice. And so the very first risk she had to take was telling him. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of women stayed silent, was just, it was the safest thing to do.
And men were often compensated financially to pay for the embarrassment of their wives.
Having been raped.
Yeah.
I like everyone who's going to watch this, and you guys, I'm a huge Ridley Scott fan. And I'm just curious, when he signed on or agreed to do the movie, how did he collaborate on the script, if at all? And, what did he add to the movie? Like, if you could just talk about collaborating with him.
Well, with Ridley, I mean, he was involved with the script the whole time. We had a lot of meetings with him and note sessions. And even when I was shooting the movie Stillwater in Marseille, Nicole and Ridley came over and we had a weekend where we just sat and went through the script, and what Ridley's amazing at is explain, like, he'll in 20 minutes, he'll rip off a watercolor, because he's an incredible fine artist. And you'll see, he's like, I'm thinking something like this. And you'll see the light source. You'll go like, oh, okay. All right. I understand the scene as we're going to shoot it in a year. I know, and so you can kind of, he's so visual that it's really helpful to talk it through with him, and he'll kind of show you where he's going. And then as an actor, he sits down and goes line by line through it. And he's able to tell, well, I'm going to start on your face. I'm going to start in a close up, or I'm starting very wide here. And as a it's good. You can kind of write to that. And so it's really a collaboration.
Anything you want to add, Nicole?
No.
I talk too much.
I'm just going to say, I really mean it. You guys did such a great job with this. And I'm glad you spent 30 days working on it.
Yeah, exactly. It was a real treat.
Me too.
Quick.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.